Okay, welcome to this weekend's look through the markets. First things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run through a few, we'll just walk through the trend models and have a look through a few stocks. But I'm going to talk a little bit of game plan and process as always. If anyone's interested in, viewing some of this information, all you have to do is go to my Twitter account here at Ftse and have a look for this tweet. It'll be yesterday's tweet, Friday's tweet, whatever. And you can just join up to the Trading Basis community. In the community, I know it's mainly members in there at the moment, but it's a private community for a reason. It's for people who are interested rather than people who just want to basically create noise. We've got a job to do here. We're very busy. Let's just keep it to the game plan. So I drop them in there now because Twitter is such a sap of time and energy, and I've got absolutely no interest in it. So that's the place to go. It doesn't cost anything. I don't send anyone any messages. I don't send anyone any emails. I never have done. It's there. It's free. It's a gift. So what I'm going to do today is just basically run through a few things, and I'll give you a few guiders of where to go and just sort of to soak this information in. This is my trend model. You can see it's run off the 350 and it's off the indexes as well. And this was the pandemic. Now, first things I'm going to say here is we're coming down into some very, very, we knew this low here was basically, this was a bounce, a bear rally, and the index dashed through basically what we call a zone alarm, and it nailed the exact day to be wary, when all the markets were in the zone alarm area. And since then it's just collapsed again, and we've got some levels. Now, what are those levels, you ask? Well, my first, I posted these over a month ago, I think. So if you go to Share Scope articles, click on Jason there, and if you go to this one here, tuning out the day-to-day noise, big picture levels, that was done on the 27th of May, and these levels, what are coming into play here, are basically, we've already talked about them. Where are we now? That was done the end of May. 3 months ago. But, that's how long the market takes. It's so next things next. If you're interested in just, basically, if you're interested in how someone like me can be very relaxed about these markets, because I run a trend model out, I've got really good risk management in place, and the trend model unwinds me. So we've had a market what basically has rewarded people with no risk management. Every dip has bounced, and those of us who traded through many bear markets before, and some real ones, some secular bear markets, I had money running all the way into the tech bubble. I had money running up into the GFC. I actually didn't ride that one down. That was pure sort of my dad timing the markets for us. But I did experience getting in a little bit earlier as well on that one. But unless you've sort of been through these market environments, you probably believe all this snake oil. What's you can tell that the market's near a top when everything gets so frothy. Think about crypto, how frothy it got. Once the investors and the the business pages started to actually they started to roll this stuff out and en masse, didn't they? They all wanted to get involved. That was the end, wasn't it? So doesn't mean it's the end altogether, but the markets get frothy, and it's pretty obvious. But when the markets are frothy, but they can be frothy for quite a long time. So you have to have some kind of risk management. And if you're interested in that, I would basically go and read all my ShareScope articles from the oldest to the newest. And, you know, going back to these things and then spending some time in the market, and you go, now I understand. And then you see something in the market and then you go, I'm sure he talked about that. And a lot of stuff isn't really that obvious, you know, but until you've experienced it, and then it soaks in. It doesn't sound so important to some people until you experience it. So I have my ways of doing these things, and you know, it really is. You know, I've put a lot of work into these, and I really do think you know, anyone can sort of see that there is no secret sauce, is what I'm trying to say. It's just in there. That's what we do. And also, you know, go to tradingbasis.co.uk, tutorials, and these tutorials really cover in detail how we protect ourselves from these things. And these are the least viewed pages on the site. People just browse over them and go, yeah, right, now how do we find the best stocks? And this is the stuff what keeps you in the game, you know. So it's the most important. It's actually simple to sort of sort your risk management out. For most people, it's just here's a little scenario. You know, if everyone's done it, we've all rode stocks down and we've all added to them and made the problem worse in the past. And you don't tend to do it again after that. Those who survive that learning phase of you know, real disastrous mistakes is what that can, basically that style can create. You know, then you've got to decide how you're going to plug those leaks, and it's doing the exact opposite, isn't it? So, you know, this is so important. I'll tell you now, the only investors what will make it through more active, I mean, as in trading stocks and especially AIM stocks, the only investors who make it through without having to bail their account out with fresh money is ones who've got this in place, you know. So have a read through there. You know, it's there to open your mind. And Trading Psychology of a Systematic Approach. Have a read through that. Have a refresher course. They're really short, these, and dead easy to read. These are a bit more in depth. They talk a bit more game plan. But this one here, Tuning Out the Noise, it's got some levels in there, what we can talk about. So this is basically going to tell you exactly what I'm going to tell you in this video, you know. So have a read of this one and join the group if you're interested in when the market does start to throw the odd trend. You know, I will start to post a little bit. I'm not going to be a stock tipper, but I'm going to show you how trends are evolving, and we'll do it sort of, you know, on a few markets, as we did for the dollar. So let's just go through these markets. You know, all bias out of the way. We've just got price action here. I'm going to put some big picture averages. I'll put the 200 and the 50-day. And should we just hit? We've got a weekly chart up there. You can put a monthly on if you want. It won't make much difference, but it will clear it up a bit actually. No, I'll leave it on a weekly because you can see a bit more of the noise what we have to deal with. And what we're waiting for is waiting for the strongest market to land, and the transports has landed. Now, the transports is what we call the leader. Is it that's leading us down? But then we want to wait to see the strong. Usually it's the S&Ps or the Nasdaq, depending what mood it's in. You know, S&P is the strongest at the moment. We can see the S&P is holding the prior low at the moment. The Dow, Papa Dow's through. Nasdaq 100 there. Should I jump to the Nasdaq comp as well? Let's have a look at that. Pretty similar. And then Grandad Russell. So Grandad Russell's actually holding a little bit of strength. It's holding the prior low. We're not worried about. Always put a log scale on when you're comparing price action. I went through those without it, but with the past, with the present. So, you know, this is how the markets trade. And let's just go back to the Dow and let's just zoom the Dow out, and you know. So we're I know it's technically a bear market, but it's kind of pretty normal correction so far. This is what everyone's scared of, isn't it? And if this happens, it's more likely markets tend to crash. They're already into correction before they crash. It's always the way. And you're going to be 5-10% down before the market crashes, as with the pandemic. And we don't need to know what the market's going to do. There's no need to be sort of doom and gloom, or either or. It really doesn't matter to us. All we need to do is just hang in there, follow along, wait for the stocks to set up. You'll start to see the stocks, just become corky, and before the market bottoms in many cases. And then if the market does bottom, it will hold. And so far, some markets are holding. Now, if all markets go below prior levels and meaningfully trade below those prior levels, we've probably got a little bit more of a weight on. If the S&P holds, I doubt it will. I think we're coming into the 50. But from these areas, it's going to be an interesting time. And we're there on the transports. We're there on the Dow. It's just an area. We're only just there. And it's the first area of interest. It doesn't mean the market will respect this. I'm not trying to predict the future here. I'm just giving you the big levels, what the market's going to look at, and the bigger players are going to be interested in. So, that 50-month on the S&P, the Nasdaq, you got the 50-month there, and the Russell. The Russell usually goes lower if the S&P is coming in to the 50-month. I'm going to bumble around there. Well, the Russell could be down here. So I haven't changed any of these. These are as we left them. And the DAX is a wild product anyway. You could expect something like this on the DAX, See that wild action there. And then the Ftse 100, I always have this. This has been holding the strongest. It's not very meaningful to us, but I always have this little... I always add this in. The markets can do whatever they want. So, takes the highs out, breaks out, moves up a bit, takes the low out, takes the high out, takes the low out, takes the high out, and then happily goes on its journey with a little correction. So the markets can do whatever they want. And the markets can be going... This is a big... a myth. So in 2014, 15 and 2014 to 16, the markets kind of went sideways all over here, and small cap stocks were fantastic in this time. It was great times in small cap stocks. So we're trading the stocks, we're not trading the markets. The markets just have to be basically, not puking, but basically okay, stable, up, down, whatever, going sideways in a range to ride trending stocks. It's a myth that stocks can't trend in sideways markets. No, we're trading the stocks on their own merits. So we won't go down that route too far. Let's just go and quickly look at a couple of other markets as well. We'll go to US dollar. Is it a blow-off move? Not really, but it is getting a bit spiky there. Well, it's definitely the spikiest action we've had of the move. This was quite spiky, and we kind of so the dollar had a little rest, and off it went on its journey. A little rest here, built a base, came back in. We viewed it on this pullback, and it threw a swing point, and it never looked back again. It went on that run from around the same time, that the zone alarm posted as well. So this is what you're going to be looking at going forward. You're going to be looking at some action like this in stocks, in markets, and you're going to go, which way is it going to break? Is it going to go higher? Is it going to go lower? As we did on the dollar. The dollar was risk off for how long? Months. And it built a base and we put the arrows on, and up it went. It said, north of this is a long, south of this is a short, and off it went on its journey. And that's where the market started to run out of steam, once the dollar turned. Let's just go and look. Should we look at oil? No, we'll go and look at Bitcoin as well. These are already in that zone we looked at. They don't look very constructive to me. But, never say never. You'd want to see... You want to see it bounce up and then build something in the right hand side. So it's so, think about this. It took a whole year, more than a year, after putting this little reversal in here, before we got the long signal on that. It was over a year. So 18 months maybe. That's pretty normal for this. So we're not going to be trading those to the long side in the short term. TLT. So these, this area here, this is kind, I'd be very surprised if these keep puking, but it's not a trade, it's just an area. That's gone huge swing in that market, and we'll go to the 7 to 10 year as well, and there's a lot of disconnecting all the correlations out there. This is starting to look like this kind of, time will tell, won't it? Time will tell, but there's a lot of stretch sort of correlations and stretch markets. So just something to think about. And we'll just quickly go to oil as well. And oil put its high in basically into the pandemic, didn't it? Into the the kickoff of the war, and it hasn't seen that high since. And this little bit and back and forth, but if this can just come into that sort of 70 to 90 range, I think this will, this is going to be the best thing for the market. Just oil coming back in. Everyone feels the relief straight away if oil just comes back in line. And I say straight away, the delayed effect. It never seems to, the prices never go down as much as the, as much as they go up, do they? But this is the one what's going to help everyone. And if, it's at the voodoo average at the moment, so we're a little bit, But if it can just fall out of bed and at least range a bit and just take the pressure off, that would be a good thing, I think. So, that's what I wanted to do. Just buzz through a few of these. I'll just bring this over. It's just got... I'll bring it up on a different page, actually, if I can find them. Yeah, there they are. Let me just bring it up. So, just industries and sectors. This is on the whole US market. You can see what's in place. Extremely clear, isn't it? Energy, utilities, financials. Obvious reasons behind these things. Are the energy? We're not seeing the energy stocks at the moment. So it makes sense that they might be running out of steam. Doesn't mean they can't fire up again and go on another leg, but it's really obvious what's going on here, isn't it? It really is. And the focus sector, what of interest is solar, isn't it, and renewables. So there's a little glimpse into that. I've got hiccups. So if you're interested in any of that, just go and follow the community at on the Twitter. I do pop in there and drop the occasional thing. Have a read on the website, read those tutorials. I'm sure it will make a lot of sense to people out there after seeing these things in action. And I will leave it there.